first and last name and your title?
Corey Miller, Director of Regional Operations.
How do you spell that, Corey?
Coreymiller.
So I guess get us started with how. Let's start with how are things going so far in terms of the recovery and getting the lines back up?
Well, things are actually, they've picked up a little bit. We've gotten a lot of extra help in. We started off on Saturday night into early Sunday morning with the damaging winds and everything that came through. And as you can see from behind me, big trees have come down and caused a lot of damage throughout the Evergy territory. We've been working restoration ever since then, and we brought in an extra 900 workers, both vegetation folks that can cut the trees up for us, as well as line workers, and they came from Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, even as far away as Wisconsin to come and help us with the restoration efforts. So things are progressing a little bit better now than what they were. Now we have additional resources here as well. We hope to get the vast majority of the lights back on by tomorrow evening. I know we had talked about Wednesday, but I think it's progressing a little bit better than what we were expecting, and things are improving. So tomorrow evening we hope to have all the lights back on.
All right, so the vast majority of the damage from trees falling on the lines?
It is. Anytime you have the type of severe weather that we had with 70 plus mile an hour winds that come through, it's going to do a lot of damage to trees. Even though they are as big as what this one is behind us, there's just only so much that those trees can withstand before they start to have limbs and stuff fall out of them. And even like this one did, the whole tree comes over and takes out poles and lines and everything else in its way.
Yeah, and what would you say to people who have been out of power as late as Saturday night? They're kind of in a holding spell, their food's going bad, and they're wondering, what's being done.
Yeah, and believe me, we understand that completely, and especially when it's a Memorial Weekend like this. You got friends and family in town. You want to do cookouts and stuff, and we're working around the clock to try and get the lights restored to every customer. And having said that, I know that people want to get out and get into their backyards. It is really, really important that if there are down lines of any kind in your backyard, that you stay back from those, and we have to consider those as energized lines until we can test and ground those. And so we want people to stay back, at least 35 feet from those lines, so that nobody gets hurt in this. That's the last thing we want. I know people want to get back there and clean up their house or clean up their yards and stuff too. And we just want to make sure that everybody is safe throughout this whole process.
Is the biggest challenge the trees? I mean, you have to get the trees removed from these lines before you can get the lines back up?
That is a big problem. What we've got is what we call assessors that go out in front of our line crews, and they're going out. And so if you see somebody in your backyard and you think, well, that might be them coming to restore, actually it might be just assessors that are going through and saying, okay, at this address we need tree crews, and we've got this kind of damage back here. And so that gives us an idea of what type of crews we need to send back there in order for our line crews and our vegetation folks to be most effective as we work through that process.
And for some people, who have said that they've seen your trucks drive by, but they haven't gotten to them just yet, could you explain what that priority process is like and how you guys are navigating it?
Sure. So obviously with any storm that comes through like this, we start at the main lines. That's the big three-phase lines that are going down the street. We have to get those back up and energized before we can start to branch off into the neighborhoods. So we work from the largest to smallest. Now keep in mind that some of those smallest ones might be a single customer at the very end. Those are tough decisions that we make every day on how we restore power to folks. But we try to get the vast majority on as we work through that whole process, so that we're getting the most on in the least amount of time.
Anything else you'd like to touch on?
Well, again, appreciate everybody's patience with this. I know that it's, like I say, it's a holiday weekend, and guys want to spend time with their family and friends. We just really appreciate the patience that has been granted while we restore power. And again, I can't caution enough that if you do have a line in your backyard, just stay back from that. 35 feet is a good rule of thumb to stay back from those until we get an opportunity to put those energized power lines back up.
Oh, and one more question. So you said you guys are working ahead of schedule in terms of restoring things. So, what has been able to help you guys expedite this process? Have you guys run into any issues?
Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. I was saying, so you mentioned you guys are actually ahead of schedule with restoring power.
Correct.
So what has allowed that process to get expedited? And have you come into any issues along the way?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's allowed us to get ahead of schedule is bringing in additional resources. We call for them relatively quickly, but sometimes, with all the storms in the area, you just had a storm in Houston and some of the other storms, resources are thin right now with companies sending their linemen in all these different directions. So sometimes the resources have to come in, like they did with us, as far away as Wisconsin. So it takes them a little bit of time to get here. But once we get here and we get everybody up and rolling, things progress relatively smoothly.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.